Hey guys, welcome back to Fully Spooled. On this episode, we're going to be doing some painting. Look at that. Not a cloud in the sky. It's been raining for 2 solid weeks in Los Angeles, so I'm excited to get back to the car. Okay, the last time we were in the engine bay, we did some patches up here on the firewall, which I think turned out pretty well considering I didn't really know what I was doing. But the only issue really is that it left this kind of nasty primer looking stuff on the firewall. So what I'm thinking today, sand, prime, and paint the entire engine bay to get it all cleaned up. So that's the goal. With the engine bay being stripped like this, I also thought it'd be a good time to stitch weld all the seams in the engine bay. I decided against that though for a couple reasons. The main reason being, if I only stitch weld the front part of the car, then the rest of the car would not be stitch welded, which would cause the front to be very stiff and the back to not be as stiff, which could cause issues with, I've heard of people having their windscreens cracked from that kind of stuff. So I think I'm going to wait for the roll cage to go in before I do any stitch welding, just to make sure that the whole car is going to be as stiff as possible from the front to the back. And secondly, in doing research online, looking at Formula Drift engine bays, about half of the cars have engine bays stitch welded and half of them don't, which is kind of interesting that not everyone just jumps into having the full car, stitch welded. So that's also kind of a consideration in terms of whether it's really worth doing. And I think at this point, just getting the car running is more important. So I'm going to focus on the simpler stuff now, and then I'll get into heavier parts of the build later on. That was super obnoxious. I just spilled about 3 gallons of gasoline all over the floor. I hate these goddamn things. Alright, so everything that I wanted to get out of here is out of here. All of the little rubber covers and stuff, and except for this one right here. Except for that one, all of the little rubber covers and little pieces have been removed. I took out all of the clips here, or the bolts that go to the cross member there. Everything is pretty much ready to go. I just have to, prep the surface for paint, which means cleaning, degreasing, and then sanding the paint off. I'm not going to sand all the paint off. I'm going to do my best to get as much off as I can, but really I just want to kind of rough up the surface a little bit so the primer can stick, and then I'll prime it, and then I'll paint it. Believe it or not, this is not a fun process. Alright, everything is pretty much sanded. I'm going to take an old t-shirt and some acetone to run over everything to remove any like last bits of dirt or rusty stuff or paint or whatever before I lay down my layer of primer. Alright, before we do any painting, really quick, I want to go over a couple things. I'm using spray paint outdoors where there is wind and particles floating in the air and stuff, so I am not expecting a professional level paint job. Even though the cans say professional on them, I am not a professional, and the engine bay has been as prepped as I can get it. I've gone over it multiple times with sanding and acetone and all kinds of stuff. As long as it ends up looking better than what it is currently looking like, I'll be very happy with that. So yeah, I'm just going to do primer first, and then I'll do my top coat of paint, probably 2 coats of the paint. I should put a mask on. Alright, there's my coat of primer. Looks pretty good, no runs that I can see anywhere. The wind is starting to pick up a little bit though, so I'm going to try to get through this as quickly as possible. So the primer looks great. It's dry. It actually, it's like on there pretty well. It looks nice and good coverage. There's some small areas where I didn't get great coverage, but you know, it's just primer. I'll be able to use my paint to go over those areas. So, of course, it being daylight saving, it's now nighttime as I'm trying to finish this, so it might take a little bit longer to dry between coats, but I think it's looking pretty good though. And here we are the following day, and the paint's looking pretty good. I'm happy with it. I did 2 coats of paint, 1 coat of primer, and a whole lot of prep and sanding. But there is some, you know, typical spray can look here. You know, a little bit of orange peeling and stuff. But honestly, considering I literally just sprayed it on last night right before going out, I think it looks pretty good. Overall, I'm really happy with it. And you can see here where I patched the, come on focus, where I patched my panels. It looks almost like a factory, you know, panel, like right there and right there. You can't see any of those like sloppy welds around the outside. So looking good. I'm really happy with it. I didn't paint the front portions here or this part yet because I'm going to undoubtedly mess it up when I'm putting the engine in. So once the engine's in, I'll go back over and paint this guy probably black again, and then I'll cover this guy up as well. So that'll be for later. I just found some repaired accident damage right here on this fender, which isn't that big of a deal. It's very light damage, it looks like, but you can see where it's been dented, then pulled out with those little, like, whatever, those little rods that they weld to the sheet metal and then filled. So, not a big deal. I don't really care. These will be replaced soon anyway, but there's certainly some Bondo in here, which might be why they repainted the whole car. But no big deal to me. Alright, that's it. The engine bay is done. It's painted. I'm really happy with how it turned out, considering I was doing it outdoors with, you know, paint cans in the wind, with particles flying through the air, and it looks pretty good. It's not a professional paint job by any means, but it'll get the job done. It looks all right from about 10 feet away, and now I can get the engine back in there, which will be coming up soon on a future episode of Fully Spooled, so stay tuned for that. I'm about to hop into the interior of the car to do the dash installation and get my switches and stuff installed. So I'm gonna hop on that right now. So thanks for being patient, waiting for the episode, and stay tuned for more Fully Spooled. I have a lot more coming. And if you like this video, please do subscribe and like, because it helps me a whole lot. And check out my social media links. I'm very active on Instagram these days, so check that out. And I'll see you guys next time.